The current witch hunt against Diddy is all about brainwashing his peers. Rumor has said that Diddy was involved in sexually harassing many rappers who were new in the industry. And according to some insiders, Diddy is also involved in some very dark and crazy stuff like after parties. And now we are going to talk about Diddy's most controversial after parties and crazy speculations that are going on the internet, and how he has been exposed blatantly by the figures who were his direct or indirect victims.
Puff Daddy and Felix the House Cat, famed house music producer,
Yeah, no, I know who that is.
basically spooning each other.
I like when you like this, Daddy.
Yeah, where you put my bag?
Daddy, I like when you
it's right
scrambling
here,
and
it's
scraping.
No, I got
I
notes
like
and
that.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
Welcome to the CBC Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome back after the long Thanksgiving break. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. And welcome back. We are here. We did not drop a video last week because we were enjoying Thanksgiving with our families, as you should have been. Hopefully you did do that, because we did. We got heavy, we got fat, and we're back. So thank you for being here. Welcome to the show. What are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about, we're going to jump back into current events. And this actually, man, is really, really interesting, this story that we're talking about today. But Me Too Part 2? Is that where we are? Me Too Redo, maybe? So today, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things that all relate back to the same core topic. So we're going to be talking about all of the latest sexual assault allegations that have come out over the last few weeks. The main big fish in this, we're talking about Diddy. He just goes by Diddy now. He's not Sean Combs, Sean Puffy Combs, Sean P. Diddy Combs, P. Diddy, Daddy. Remember he was all those things?
Yeah.
He's narrowed it down to Diddy. Now, full disclosure.
Well, it's like a stampede of lawsuits.
Yes, the stampede. Now, full disclosure, before we get started, I grew up in the era where Bad Boy was kind of coming up and being kind of the big record label on the block, and because I late 80s, early 90s, they were kind of coming out, and you were hearing Puff Daddy. You kept hearing his name.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought several of his albums. Obviously, when I was a kid, I was buying a lot of his stuff. They were on top of the world. I always liked Puff. I didn't have a problem with him. I mean, I wasn't like a lot of his stuff. I was lukewarm on some, but he was a heck of a producer. I always, thought he was a really good producer, and put a lot of good music out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I personally, this is my first foray into anything Diddy since, I don't know. I mean, because I don't really listen to too much hip hop anymore.
Yeah, well, it changed.
So when I started hearing about all this, everybody's talking about Diddy. I was like, what's going on with Diddy? So I started researching for the show, and I was shocked to find out what I found out about Mr. Diddy. So before I turn it over to Amina to get her thoughts, because Amina has some very interesting thoughts on this entire topic, because, listen, most of the time, is it fair to say that women will agree with the woman initially? Like if the woman says that she was sexually assaulted, are you more prone to believe her initially, until all the story comes out?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because you remember the first Me Too movement, remember Bill Cosby was the big fish. Remember they got him.
It was the big bitch.
Poor Bill. I still say that. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't.
He was with a walker.
I don't condone anything that Bill did,
cane,
or may have done allegedly during that time. But they waited till Bill was like 80, bro. That was dirty, dog.
Wheelchair.
They had him walking into the courthouse like come on, man. That was dirty. Why did they do that?
I don't know why they waited so long. Which brings up the question for a lot of people that wait so long.
Okay, waiting so long. So let me share with you real quick. First of all, I'm going to share with my screen briefly because I just want you guys to see why this is happening now, right? So if you look at the screen, the first thing you see here, so a final wave of sex abuse lawsuits as 1 year window closes in New York. Since the Adult Survivors Act was passed, more than 3,000 civil suits have been filed, some aimed at politicians and others at institutions, including hospitals and jails. I know Rikers Island is in here. There's like a ton of complaints about Rikers Island sexual assault.
Wow.
But there's some big names in this claim we have here. We have Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, who's the current mayor of New York, has charge or allegations pending against him. And then Diddy is also named in here, which this is separate from the big case that he has with Cassie, right? The one that he settled. Had with Cassie that he settled. So just to put some initial info out there. So this Survivors Act, right? The deadline was, I believe, yesterday. I believe it's today's the 28th. We're recording on the 28th. I think it was the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. So basically they said, okay.
Why do they call it Survivors Act? What does that mean?
So basically the precipice of it is that if you were, I think it's 30 years is the cutoff. The statute of limitations for sexual assault is only a certain amount of time, right? Mm-hmm. But they created a temporary law that basically retroactively says if you were sexually assaulted, I think it's up to 30 years ago, you had up until yesterday to file charges or to put the allegations forward, right?
Okay.
So that's why a lot of these names are coming out now. You're hearing, Diddy's just part of that, but his bigger case came with the Cassie thing. But he's also got other charges pending from other women who are coming forward now and saying that he did a lot of these similar things. Mm-hmm. So now that we know kind of what we're talking about, as a woman, why do you think that all of this is coming out now? That Axel Rose has been a lady. These ladies are unidentified right now. Mm-hmm. Axel Rose, a lady, has accused him of sexually assaulting her at an after party in 1989. I think that's a stretch, personally. But what do you think about all these charges?
Well, I don't know. My question is, I have a question. So the Survivors Act law or whatever that was put into place, is that when we started seeing all of these lawsuits coming in, like, I guess maybe like 10 years ago this all started? Or less than that?
Well,
how long ago? It feels like.
Well, the Me Too thing was like 2012.
Okay.
Yeah,
time flies. So that's why I picked 10.
12, 13, somewhere in there. You started to hear about it and then it went bananas at one point. Everybody's, remember Trump and everybody was charged.
Is that when they said, okay, the floodgates are open, we've created an open space that if you feel like you've been assaulted or touched in any manner that was against your liking, the floodgate, it's open. The gates are open. You may do something about it now.
Yeah, because I think the statute of limitations on most things are like 5 to 7 years. So they extended for a great period of time to give people a chance. Because I think, okay, and let me ask you, so when you see someone come forward like Cassie, and by the way, so those of you we keep talking about Cassie. So Cassie was, she was an artist. She is an artist, I should say. She was Diddy's protege. She became his full-time lover, I guess, or, she has now since come out with a host of allegations about sexual assault. You saw the clip in the beginning. That's kind of the meat of it. There's a lot more to it. I mean, we could probably do a 2-hour show with just allegations, but she was kind of the one that came forward, and just based off the discovery of all the complaints that were in, her civil charge, because these are civil, not criminal.
Yeah.
But because of the discovery, everybody's reading it like, whoa, my God, right? And then let me ask you, if you're a woman, you were assaulted by Diddy, because I'm going to assume that he's done this before, right? I'm going to assume. If you see that come out, does that give you the courage to then come out?
Yeah.
Okay. Because a lot of people are asking that question, like, well, why didn't she say anything 5 years ago?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, because she was with him supposedly 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. But that's like acceptance.
But let me ask you, if you're in that scenario,
Cassie, maybe you were in fear, maybe you were afraid that kept you, locked down. But 10 years, to me is an awfully long time to be in a relationship with someone that's, I don't know. I've never been in an abusive relationship. So not physically abusive. So I really can't, it's a tough subject to speak of. Because once you start talking and you hear yourself talking, you have to be careful about what you say, about other people that have been in these positions. I have no idea what it's like to be under the thumb of Sean Puffy Combs. I'm sure it's tough because you're like, well, this is my life. This is my career. And maybe I should stay. I mean, I'm walking down the red carpet.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be all bad, but he's done some really nasty shit too. So, and it opened the floodgates for all of that information to come out. Now there's a lot of gay stuff coming out about Sean Combs. Poor, I would say poor guy, but we create our own reality, and everything done in dark comes to light. I mean, every phrase that puts you in this position is usual at this point. Everything done in dark comes to light, and he did a lot of stuff, and a lot of people are coming out and speaking out again. It's not just these lawsuits. It's people that were his friends. It's people that he made music with. It's people that, are telling about his escapades with Usher and his escapades with even Justin Bieber was too young to be hanging out with him, and all kinds of things. It's getting really a tight squeeze for him. I don't know how well he's sleeping at night.
So
honestly.
then what do you see? Okay, 6 months, 8 months, a year from now, what do you see happening with Puffy or Diddy? I'm sorry.
Honestly, from what I know about the music industry, he may be dead.
Okay. I don't think that's that far fetched, honestly. Like, hopefully,
because when you become more trouble than you're worth to the music industry, there's too much conspiracy. There's too much drama. There's too much. You're in the news too much. Yeah. They just kind of do away with you. You're worth more dead than alive to the music industry. And it's a proven fact. Every time somebody dies, they have all of their albums hit number one. They make a movie out of them. They write a book. They do all kinds of things, and they make more money off of your death. Mm-hmm. And with all this drama coming out about him, I'm sure there's some really good books and good movies that could be written about this. I mean, I'd go watch it. Yeah. I want to know what the he's doing or did. It's terrible, but we want to know. That's how people are.
Yeah, we are. So that was they gave a lot there. Like, from a, female perspective, I always listen, when I hear about sexual assault allegations, I always think about the victim. I say, okay, listen, if something happened, let's find out what happened. And then,
Now, as far as Axel Rose goes, 1989, somebody was groped at a party. Listen, I've been to a lot of parties. And when you're involved in a party scene and you're hanging out with rock guys, or you're hanging out with ravers, or you're hanging out with rappers or whatever, people get touched. Yeah. Are you acting like, I don't know what happened between her and Axl Rose, but honey, I'm sorry.
In 1989, put it this way, in 1989, I was 12. So that'll put it in perspective.
That sounds like a money grab to me, and I don't know. Rock chicks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of those, so some of the names, like she mentioned, Axl Rose, Cuba Gooding Jr.
He's been out of the limelight for a long time.
There are two women who have named him as someone who also made unwanted advances at a party.
Since the Weinstein scandal, you haven't seen Cuba, whatever he wants to call himself, doing anything for a long time.
And Cuba was out there for a while.
He was famous, you know?
So he's got some charge.
Show me the money. And I haven't seen him do anything since kind of like those days.
Yeah, I don't know. And I like Cuba.
He dropped out of the light.
I liked Cuba.
I think maybe he knew something was going to come down the pike.
Well,
go into hiding early.
So far with him, it's two women who said that he made unwanted advances to them at a party in 2018. It doesn't sound like it's too big of a deal. But I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a certain number of these celebrity guys who decide to just, I want to make this go away, even if I didn't do anything. How much money do we have to give the lady? I think you'll have a certain number of people do that. Well, Diddy. I mean, what was it, $4 million that he?
I don't know what he paid her, but he paid her right away.
Cassie, he paid her right away. So everybody was like, okay, he's guilty. Like, why would he all of a sudden just pay her? Because it's like
the attorney said this is in no way any admission of guilt.
Yeah. So with all that being said, is a very murky subject, right? There's a lot of moving parts, but focusing specifically, I think, on Diddy, I just think there's too much smoke for there not to be a fire. I think it's just too much. There's too much. Now, some of it could be a money grab, but the stuff from Cassie, I read the civil complaint. It's unbelievable. Like, there was stuff in there that I could not believe. That's why everybody's like going crazy, because they're like, my gosh, this guy, how long has he been doing this? Is he the only girl? Are there more girls? Like, there's a lot of things coming out.
What I think, unfortunately for him, this is just going to get bigger. The momentum is there now. I mean, you can't go on YouTube without seeing a video about what Puffy did in his past.
Well,
I almost feel sorry for his children. I do feel sorry for his children. I mean, I'm a mom. I feel sorry for his kids. He's made it uncomfortable for them. Now they have to hear about their dad and his, pressuring straight men to sleep with him or do whatever he does behind closed doors. I mean, it's all over the internet. I'm not just.
If you just go to YouTube, like, we haven't talked, this is not the basis of today's show, but he's also, there are a lot of potential allegations of him being involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur, Notorious B.I.G. His bodyguard, Reggie Wright, is on YouTube all the time doing interviews. He was with them all the time. He's spilling the beans. His former publicist is spilling the beans.
His ex?
I just think it's too much.
What's her name? Porter?
Kim Porter.
Kim Porter.
Who is no longer with us. I saw
a lot of people ended up dead around him.
Well, a lot of his artists, a lot of his former art, Craig Mack is no longer with us. Black Rob is no longer with us. G. Depp is in jail. I don't know if G. Depp's still with us, but I know he's in jail. Shine, we know what happened to him. He was known as Puffy's fall guy. He took the hit for him with the Jennifer Lopez thing in the nightclub. So it seems that anyone around him either ends up with an untimely demise or they end up in jail.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
It's no bueno.
The one girl who I think was kind of tough enough to stand up to him was a girl, Aubrey O'Day from Danny Kane.
A big white girl.
She is very, 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 very adamant on how her interaction with Puffy was.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds to me, now again, there's two sides to every story. But when I listen to what she says, it sounds to me like she wasn't willing to conform to what he wanted her to do. I think he wanted her to be his Cassie.
She's tough skinned. You can tell by looking at her and how she carries herself. She's tough skinned. She's not bending or folding for anybody. Doesn't seem like it.
If I'm piecing everything together, I think he really wanted her to be his first Cassie. Right, like, I want to be manipulate this girl, make her my girlfriend, whatever it is. Make her the bigger. He could have made her a huge star if he wanted to. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Right now today, if she was willing to go along with all that, you might be hearing Aubrey O'Day music right now. But it sounds to me like she wasn't willing to do it, so that's why she's kind of irrelevant now. Like, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, you don't want to do it, you go do your own thing. Now, with that being said, let me share my screen one more time. So I want to show you how big this is. This is from today. This is from Variety. This is from November 28th. So Sean Diddy Combs steps aside as chairman of Revolt amid sexual assault lawsuits. So there are 3 more lawsuits that were filed against him. He has a television network called Revolt that he opened in 2013, and he's resigned from the day-to-day operations of this. So I think when you start seeing guys do that, I think they kind of know, man, I got to lower my profile.
Fly under the radar.
But for him, I think it's too late.
I think it is too.
I think it's too late. I think if he had been able to do this,
Way too much coming out all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's the floodgates are open. The floodgates are open for Diddy,
yeah, and
not just for the lawsuits, but it sounds to me like he's in trouble.
it's a shame too because when you look at okay, they say, what do they say? They say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Puff had a lot of power, man. He had a lot of power. If you go back and watch some of the documentaries about the the old East Coast West Coast beef back in the 90s, there are people who talk about like how he was, and he for a while there, I mean, he literally had the power to kill a lot of people by just snapping his fingers. I mean, if he would have told his goons, "Hey, man, we got to take out these guys," they would have done it. Like, so I think he kind of got intoxicated with the power.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking at a certain point, nobody can touch you.
Nobody can touch you. And that is the point of trouble. That is when you put yourself on a pedestal.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's only one place left to go.
But did you ever watch Making the Band with him?
Bits and pieces. It never really held me.
Because he was, now I thought it was all for the camera. Like I said, this is entertaining. The guy is extraordinarily narcissistic. I don't think that was for the camera. I think he's like that. I think he is actually like that. But so that's why it comes off so good on reality TV, because that's how he is for real.
That's how he is for real.
Yeah.
And all the stories of him just kicking people's asses and beating up women. Now, the latest thing that came out today, is his secretary.
Oh, yes.
The secretary that worked for him. He kicked her ass too. Yeah. Yeah. He beat her up right after he beat up Cassie, unfortunately. I mean,
if you guys don't watch Mace and Cameron's podcast, I mean, Mace can't stand Diddy. Like, if you go listen to any of Mace's stuff, I mean, he tells you, he spills the beans himself. There's too many people with too much information. And because of that, I just really, even people I talk to on the street, like friends of mine, I'll say, because this is mainstream, I'll say, "Hey, what do you think about Puff?" And everybody tells me he's done. He's done.
It's over.
So
I think it's over.
We'll see.
There's too much out there. There's too much out there. It's not only YouTube, and we're conspiracy theorists. I know a lot of people like to call YouTubers and people that follow YouTube conspiracy theorists. Well, it hit mainstream.
It's in mainstream.
Okay.
If you see it in mainstream, they're forced to announce the stuff. See, by the time you see it show up on the mainstream, they have no choice. Okay, we got to put it out.
Can't hide it anymore.
It's either by design or by necessity. Like, they're like, okay, we want to smear somebody or we have to smear somebody. It's either way.
It's leaked out too much. Now, they can't. There's going to come a point where they can't save him.
Yeah.
They can't help him.
Exactly.
They can't do anything.
They'll just
and that's when they commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I told you you'll end up there. Oh, he had a heart attack.
He had a heart attack. Well, then his ex-wife.
Or he had pneumonia.
His ex-wife had a heart attack, right?
She had pneumonia.
Oh, no, okay. So
nobody dies from pneumonia. I mean, people die from pneumonia, but come on. It's rare in this country.
So Kim Porter was his longtime girlfriend. They never did get married, but their longtime girlfriend. He had a couple of kids with her. I believe he had.
She was in her 40s.
I think he had twins with her, if I'm not mistaken. He had a baby before her, I think, and then he had.
She had no pre-existing conditions. You don't just die from pneumonia in your 40s.
There's a lot of people that believe that he had something to do with that. I don't know. I haven't really looked too much into that particular story because I only saw that piece like yesterday, like where they were like, "Oh, he had something to do with killing her," and I'm like, "Man, what? How deep does this rabbit hole go?"
It's deep, and a lot of people aren't afraid anymore. They're just spilling the beans. They're all coming out. They're all coming out, and the ones that have been to his parties that don't engage in that kind of stuff are telling everybody what goes on at the parties.
There's a lot of allegations of wild sex parties where it's mostly men at the parties.
Women upstairs to give off the facade of a party with strippers and pretty chicks. But when you go down into the galley, let's look at the grotto, right? There's a bunch of men laying around. They said Greek style, like the Greek Roman men spooning. Right?
You know what, guys?
Wearing just towels. What is this?
Guys, let me just put this out before we wrap up.
What is this?
So I hear a lot of these allegations about men and dealing with other men and stuff like that. Listen, whatever you do is whatever you do. But here's my only question. I guess I'll never understand it because what I find women to be like incredibly attractive. I know that could seem a little bit weird. I know that we're in an environment where, oh my God, he likes women. What's wrong with him? I get it. I get it. I know that a straight man liking women is weird.
Come on, Asaniana.
I get
Can you
it.
change your name?
Yeah, I understand. Like it's very strange if a straight man likes women. It's very, very strange. But all I'm saying is that I don't understand, man. I don't understand how y'all can look at a guy and say, yeah, that's what I want.
It's a power thing.
Yeah.
For Puffy and straight guys that like to take other straight guys' dignity.
Will Smith.
Yeah. Well, Puff says he's straight. Will Smith will say he's straight, but they like to engage. But with Puffy, it's a power thing. He likes to get straight guys to give him fellatio, and he likes to get straight guys to let him, I don't think I can say it.
I don't get it.
So, but it's power, and with the power comes the money, and with the money comes the power, and it's like a cycle. So if you can steal people's energy,
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, from a power
break them
standpoint.
down,
Yeah.
steal their energy, make them yours, right?
Mhm.
And then you can tell them what to do
Yeah.
for a while because you've got this over them now.
True.
Remember that day? You didn't call me for your birthday, though.
You did. Pull that up. What she just said. Go to YouTube. Type in Diddy Fabulous. You didn't call me for your birthday though, and you're gonna see it come up, and you'll see exactly why she said that because he kept asking Fabulous for some reason. But you didn't call me for your birthday though. I don't know why he kept saying that. It was just weird. I don't know. I mean, I don't
It's
know.
uncomfortable.
Go look at Fabulous face. Go look at his face.
The Fabulous kept saying, "Oh, I was hanging out with my kids."
He was sitting there, and he was just like, he said, "No, we did. We talked on the phone earlier, though."
He said, "No, not for my birthday."
He
though.
said, "But you didn't call me for your birthday." And he was like, "But we
And there's a
talked."
signature Puffy lip lick that you got to do after that.
Yeah, yes, there's a lip lick in there. It was great. Go look at it. Go pull up Puffy Fabulous. I think they were on Drink Champions or Drink Kings on the podcast. Hilarious. It's just weird though. It's like, why is he talking to a grown man like that? It's weird. Anyway, we're bumping up against time. Thank you for a great year. We're heading to the end of the year. We're over 200 subs, which that was what we wanted to do this year. Honestly, if we get over 200, we can get 300, 400, 500. But we need your help. Like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment. Any feedback helps us. A small channel like this, as we say, helps us out greatly. Thank you for being here. We're going to do a part 2 and maybe 3 to this because I think there's going to be more stuff coming like
This
daily.
is not going to end.
It's going to be a lot. We'll see you next time. We're out.